It's been a very crazy journey for me, a very emotional thing. I keep saying I'm sorry, and I keep being told that I can't be sorry. It's not my fault that I have prostate cancer. I didn't choose to have this. Nobody chooses to have that. I get it. But at the same time, I get angry because I see them sad, and I see them get angry because I'm angry because I'm sad. And they go, no, what can we do for you? And I go, you have to take care of you too. Okay. This is a crazy disease. It is not the easy anything with prostate cancer. Sometimes we have to joke and laugh about it, and we have to do all the things. This is HCRD.online. It's still humor, culture, and real discussions, but sometimes it's personal, where I bring you into my story, unfiltered, and inviting you into the parts that most people hide. This is HCRD.online, and this is the beginning of something real. Welcome back, my friends. My name's Steve Niemeyer. This is HCRD.online, and today we're continuing a conversation that we've had in the past, and this one is about prostate cancer. And I've been filling you guys in on everything I can tell you about my journey and just keep throwing things your direction. Now, I did have a conversation with my family this time before I jumped off the deep end and came in here and started recording, because last time I had a situation where my daughter didn't know the latest news and found out about it when she was on a drive. She said, I'm just going to listen to Dad while I'm cruising down the road. I have to go do whatever she was doing. And she turned it on, and I was giving her an update on something that we hadn't had a chance to talk about. So I have talked to everybody because I got some weird news. It's changing the way things are going to happen for me as far as treatments, and then they're going to start pretty quick. But we can back up just a little bit. If you're a first timer, I explain all of the issues I had before I had my surgery, August 28th of last year. And I had complications on the backside, not really prostate cancer related, but did have some issues, was in the hospital, didn't get to experience cruising around with a catheter at home except for a couple nights, and then I was back in the hospital for the duration, um, dealing with all the side effects and the aftermath of what's going on. My PSA was undetectable. I was all kinds of excited. The next time we took it, it was 0.02. And they said, don't worry about that. And then it was 0.04, and then it went to, 0.06. And they said, wait a second. And those climbs were happening in a 5 or 6 week time frame. So there wasn't a whole lot of time in between them as far as having that rise. And then they said, oh my gosh, that doubled in this amount of time. And that's one of the calculations they make. Well, um, I went back to my urologist, and he sent me on to the oncologist that is going to be performing radiation if that is necessary. So we had to go find out if that was my next step or if we were just going to watch this. But I hit that trigger that they said before is the chemical reoccurrence, right? And we're going to talk about some of these steps and all the stuff that goes along with it in a minute. Chemical reoccurrence. And I said, now what does that mean? And he said, well, we're going to do some other stuff. Number one, I want to do a complete blood panel on you. I need to know what we're looking at there, find out if there's any underlying conditions for anything else that could be going on. He was a little more concerned. I'm talking about going to the oncologist at this point. We went through and talked about options and all of the things. And I said, I really don't want to do the hormone therapy. If we can skip that part, that would be awesome, because I'm not a fan of everything that happens with it. He goes, no, I understand. And there's things we can do to control side effects. And I said, but it probably involves taking another pill to try to do this. So how do we make that decision? That's what I needed to know. How do we make that decision? And he said, we're going to do not only the blood work, I want to do a PSA on you to find out where it is now. I think it's gone up, and I just want to know where it is and how fast. And then we're also going to do a decipher test. And I didn't have any idea what a decipher test was. It involves taking part of my prostate tissue from when I had it removed a year ago. They encapsulate pieces in something so they can pull it out and do further testing on it. And so I said, what is this all about? They're looking at all the genes, analyzing the expression of 22 genes in prostate tumor tissue. Now, that can either be taken from a biopsy. So if they go into a larger mass, they could send that off and have this test done. Or in my case, the surgical removal, they keep some of that. Decipher scores are going to range from 0 to 1. So 22 different markers, so to speak, they're looking at. This one says this, and each of them gets a little score. Anyhow, 0 to 1 is the range, and that is going to give the doctor yet another tool to figure out the aggressiveness and the chance of reoccurrence and metastasis and all of those things that you don't want to hear when you have cancer, because that means it's spreading and things are going, well, my numbers are going up. So that's something to look at. This decipher test will say it's aggressive, and the more aggressive it is, the more aggressive the treatment's going to be. And I'm thinking I've got it, right? So here we go. So from that 0 to 1. Now, the test will generate that score, the lower score indicating less aggressive cancer, a lower risk of metastasis, and a higher score suggesting more aggressive cancer and a higher risk of metastasis. So I'm trying to figure all this out. Well, I read this much and I go, so what does this mean? Well, the 0.45, remember we're doing it from 0 to 1. So 0.45 or below, that's going to be low risk. So intermediate risk, this is scores between 0.45 and 0.6. They may benefit from a tailored approach to treatment, potentially incorporating hormone therapy. So in that range, if you were on the low side, you could do the radiation. And we're saying if the numbers come back and there is a 68% chance that it's going to be in the prostate bed, then you have to go look at other testings, right? And you go, well, what was the grade of the cancer? Okay. And then when you get into the big grade, hey, it's a 3. There was invasion. There was outside of the margin. So, Steve, we're thinking that's where it is. But the lymph nodes, now we're talking, those are swollen. If we radiate, we're going to radiate all of that. Well, that is a scary thing, right? So where was I? Because we know a high risk score above 0.6, patients in this group will require more intense treatment strategies, possibly including hormone therapy, radiation, or surgery. Well, obviously, more surgery, they go in and cut more. Not doing that. So what do? The doctor and I talked, and he goes, let's wait till we get your score back, and we're going to figure it out. So we had another powwow when the scores came back, and he said, well, Steve, I do want to let you know, yours came back as a 1. And I said, a 0.1? We're jamming. And he said, no, it's a 1. Yours was on the absolute top of the chart. Most aggressive. The news you don't want to hear, Steve. So what we're going to do is change his plan a little bit, because looking at the lymph nodes and looking at this, we're going to attack that. And so now what? And he said, we're doing hormone therapy. And there's a couple of ways we can do this. You can take pills. You can do the injection. I don't recommend removing your testicles, because that is another way. Definitely not going that route, right? So I said, okay, so the difference, the pills, obviously it's a drawn out process. You're controlling the daily dose. It depends on how your body's going to process the shot. So it may do little spikes and valleys, and you may have a rush and have more effects. early into the thing, and then the pills are going to be, maybe later in the process, but don't let it really make that much of a difference in the end results. It's only a 1 or 2%, if that, better outcome taking pills over the shots. So financially, it's going to be enough. You're going to be coming over here for the next 8 weeks, and it's about a 90-minute drive each way. So 3 hours on the road for a 30-minute appointment. I'm not really looking forward to any of that, but we decided to hit this thing and be pretty aggressive. I got a phone call a couple days after we talked, and it was a offshoot of my insurance company that said, because of the plan that I had through TRS, anyhow, it's a teacher retirement system, TRS. And there is something in the policy that I have personally that allows this third party assistant to come in and say, I would like to help this individual with their medicine. They said that the medicine that I'm going to be taking is expensive. They do 2/3, but a third of it's on me. And they said it's going to be like $800 and some odd dollars. I go, wow, that's my portion of the thing. And they said, yeah. And I said, a month. What? And so I was trying to figure this out. And she goes, but can I ask you a few questions? I said, sure. They said, you have this insurance, TRS, right? Yes, ma'am, I do. Said, well, I'm here, and if you will allow me to do so, I have the manufacturer of the medicine that your doctor wants you to take in pill form on the other line. And if you would allow me to do so, I'm going to be a representative for you and speak with them and see if we can take advantage of some of the discounts or programs that they may have right now. And I said, this is kind of like on TV. If you're having trouble paying for your prescription, let us know. There may be free or reduced prices, right? So that's what this is. And so she's going to do the talking for me because I don't know how to get a hold of the manufacturer. I don't even know who that manufacturer is right now, because it had to go to a different pharmacy, and that pharmacy had to do some kind of crazy, I don't know. All I know is she's on the phone. She wants to help me out. And I said, what do we do? And she said, give me a second. So after I answered a bunch of questions, she gets on the phone and talks to them. And I'm listening to some on hold jazzy music, just bebopping along, waiting my turn, going, who is this lady? And why is she helping me again? Guess it's something in my insurance. I don't know. I'll just, oh, hi. Yeah, no, I'm still here. Yeah. No. Oh, no. Okay. So what do you know? And she said, well, Steve, here's the deal. I just got off the phone with them. I told them that I was going to be helping you through this process. And with Form 23B72A, you are enrolled in this program, and we are going to be able to assist you with your bill. And I said, okay, what are we talking about? She said, your bill. Now, when you get your medicine delivered, you're going to have like an invoice type thing in there. That's a packing slip more than an invoice. Don't pay that. It's going to have that 800 and some odd dollars, 886 and change. But that is not a bill. Don't pay that. And I go, okay, so what do I pay? And she said, absolutely nothing. I said, what? And she said, in this program, and because of your type of cancer and your numbers and this, that, and the other, they want you to take their medicine. They want me as a lab rat so they can use me in testimonials later. And I'll be on TV smiling going, I used to have prostate cancer. Well, I guess I still do. But now, thanks to so-and-so and which and what and wherever, I'm just checking my PSA once a year. And it hasn't moved in the last 6. Okay, I'll do something like that. I'll be their spokesman for this. But anyhow, I don't have to do that because I didn't sign anything that said I had to do that. All I know is that the medicine's going to be free. And then my brain said, wait, there has to be a catch. And I said, okay, now how long is this program go for? And she said, well, you have to make sure that it stays on your insurance. So between that little sign up in December, you need to make sure that it's still in there and everything should be good. We're going to be looking on our end as well. And at any point, if the program through the manufacturer goes away for whatever reason, we will cover the cost of your medicine until we find another money source to take care of that 30%. I'm thinking this is Christmas. I'm all kinds of excited about this. And then the reality of, yeah, but you know what? You're going to be doing hormone therapy and you're going to have night sweats and you're going to have all kinds of hot flashes and you're going to get angry and you're going to have, it's a potential. You never know until it happens. So we're going to try to stay positive, aren't we? Yeah. So hormone therapy. Now this is another one of these things, obviously, that he wants me to do, and the pills that I'm going to take free, apparently, because my insurance friend said that we were going to do it that way. But prostate cancer hormone therapy involves blocking or reducing testosterone levels, which can slow down or stop the growth of prostate cancer cells. It's used in various stages of prostate cancer, including after surgery or radiation when PSA rises, as primary treatment for metastatic cancer or to help shrink tumors before other treatments like radiation. So they can do it at any point in this. While hormone therapy doesn't cure prostate cancer, it can control its growth, reduce symptoms, and improve quality of life for some patients. All right, so some people improve quality of life, other people apparently not. That's kind of a scary little thing, right? So it's going to depend on how your testosterone is growing, where it's at when they start this. Hormone therapy is going to disrupt all of that, the dependency, by either blocking the production of testosterone or preventing it from attaching to cancer cells, slowing or halting their growth. And I said, so if they slow the growth, that means when you're done taking the therapy, does it just wake back up and keep going? My doctor told me that sometimes they fall asleep, go into a coma state and don't wake up. And he said, I know you're looking at it. If it can go, it has for you. But Steve, you know what? We're gonna work on this. We're gonna get you through it. And so the after surgery or radiation part comes if the PSA levels start to climb and they say, hey, we can give you this. It's going to lower your chances and shrink your tumors in this. So there's medication, injections, tablets, or implants that will actually block testosterone production, block its effects on the cancer cells, or I don't even know what this ectomy they're going to do is, an orchiectomy. That is the removal of your testicles, and it can be used as a form of hormone therapy. Um, you know, if anyone ever tells you, oh, at least you got the good cancer, go, yeah, you say that because you know nothing about cancer of the prostate. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what my future holds. You don't know any of these things. You start by telling me the function and the location of your prostate. What does it do? Where is it located? I want you to inform me of that and then tell me your knowledge on the backside, because people don't get it. There's people out there that honestly think you're going to lose your testicles or they're going to have to do surgery on your penis because you have prostate cancer. And they go, well, don't some people have to do that? And I go, some people have implants afterwards. They don't know. It gets confused and it's scary, and you start looking for information. And if you don't think that every time the doctor says, hey, here's the next thing that it could be, your brain starts, clicking through the possibilities and looking at scary numbers and, just breathe, because one test alone does not cancer make. You have to understand that that's just another piece of the puzzle, a little tool that they can use to guide your treatment to where it needs to be. Advancements are happening all the time. And I told my wife, I said, looking at this, the 10-year, 15-year prognosis is telling me that I can have reoccurrence and it can spread. It can be something to be concerned with. He said, I don't know why in the bone scan and in this, it lit up in your shoulders. It's like it wouldn't go to the lymph nodes in your shoulders. It's not where it would go first. This is not for sissies. You just have to get through this, and it's one day at a time. The emotional baggage that comes along with this, I am recording this. I think I've had 9 hours of sleep in the last 3 nights because I start my treatment on Wednesday. The hormone therapy will start. And I went to the mailbox today and I said, well, again, another day before I have to start that, because he's saying that it's going to be 6 months minimum, probably 2 years that I will be doing this. My wife said, if they would have done something 3 years ago when your PSA, if you would have had something, the MRI then, or even the CAT scan to see that, hey, there's something there, we need to check it out, maybe it wouldn't have been as bad. And I said it wouldn't have been as bad, but it still would have been bad. It's the same ugly cancer. It's the same aggressiveness, right? Because it's doing its thing. I just accept the fact that I'm going to be going through this forever, right? Even if it goes in remission, or whatever word you want to use for prostate cancer, um, it goes. You still have to keep checking to make sure you're not going to be in trouble. And if you've gone through all of these things, you're on a different testing schedule than everyone else. It's a very personalized, very person specific plan. And if you see people bashing other people on those little support group pages going, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Have people thinking that, hey, that website that I sent you, did you read it? And they send stuff to me, and you should be drinking horse medicine. That cures people all the time. It's just they're afraid to post it and afraid to put anything out there about it, because then they're going to stop. All right. I understand if, someone's pregnant and you as a woman want to share a pregnancy story with her, that's cool. But you don't talk to her about her breast cancer journey if you've never been through it. If you don't know the emotional scars, if you don't know the fear that goes along with it, and it turns to irrational thoughts, and but you have to teach yourself to take a step back, slow down, and deal with whatever you're dealt. We keep talking about this hand we're dealt. It's just like that. Yeah, somebody's going to have pretty much the same hand, the same numbers, the same time frame that you went through, and you can share stories. But then you say, what was your decipher score? And they go, oh, it's a 0.63. And I go, well, 1. That means I'm going to do stuff a little longer, and they're going to be more aggressive. So that's my game plan. That's what they're going to do. I was talking to my wife about it, and she started crying, and I said, I'm so sorry. And she goes, you didn't do this. It's scary thinking about these numbers and looking at the 10-year and the 15-year survival. And I said, if I go through this radical thing they're going to do, and it's more aggressive, got it. But if they are more aggressive and everything's cool, what if they go, hey, 10 years, you're going to be good in 10 years. Well, between now and 10 years, I'm just praying that there's a better option out there. I just am looking at the options that I have, and I've been talking about this and checking out more information and then reading support group stuff. And then I just hit a wall, and I said, I don't want anything else. Just keep my brain busy. I don't want to talk about this stuff unless it's specific questions that we can truly have an answer for, because it's one of those times where your brain starts inventing an outcome and says, what if? And what if everything's awesome? What if I do this and in 8 weeks I don't have any side effects from all of this? I can stop this other stuff and 6 months, and then a year and a half from now, I'll be better. Because it kind of sucks that you have surgery, and then less than a year later, I'm starting radiation and hormone therapy because it's ugly and aggressive. Is it fair? Is there anything in the medical world? If you're sick, is that fair? I just have to deal with it. And the family has to deal with this. And my daughter is going to start teaching in another month or so here in Texas, which is awesome, right? Teaching in Arizona now, teaching an hour and a half away. And she said, I am gonna take you, the first few days that you have to go to this. And I go, yeah, but I think on, this latter half of the treatments is where things get a little more heavy, and you get tired, and it's going to get old driving that much every day to go have somebody poison you with this radiation. But it's the plan that we have. It was talked about with doctors and many questions back and forth. And this is where I am, and this is what's going to happen. Now, emotionally, how do you deal with this stuff? Part of you in your brain, you've gotten frustrated during this journey, and you go, you know what if I just quit? What if? Okay, let's say, what if you quit? I don't know where you're at in this journey. I don't know your numbers. Even if I knew your numbers, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a more educated prostate cancer guy than I was 2 years ago, a year ago. And it got serious, and I just want to help people. I want to answer your questions. I want to help you out, but understand you have to be careful where you ask the questions, and you really have to be careful where you get the answers. Because if you are doing all of your chat GPT questions and building a little profile with your test results, and you're loading it up there and it's giving you that information, then you take that information and you say, what should I be asking my doctor? What test should I be taking next? How do I, and here's mine, how do I protect my children? How do they get the answers to know before it gets ugly, stupid, and crazy that something may be wrong so they can deal with it? And there is another series of tests that I'm going to have done, and they said it will be markers for everything. And I said, okay, I want this test, and we're talking about it in a couple days. When I go Wednesday, I will find out about this test, and I think it's just another blood test, a swab, however they do it. But it gives you what morphed and what made the wrong turn and started becoming cancerous and multiplying and all of that. From the markers that they told me, from the specific cancer that was in my prostate. Now, you have to understand, this isn't a big, huge, hey, Steve, this is the testing, that decipher score. It's not my entire body. It is taking the cancer cells out of the prostate tissue from my surgery and analyzing that and coming up with that score of, this is very aggressive. We kind of knew that. This is okay. We knew all of those things. Well, you put those pieces together and you come up with the bigger picture of what you're looking at, and all of a sudden it comes into focus and you go, wait a minute, I have enough people. I asked all the right questions. How do I proceed with this? How do I make sure I'm making the right decision? And I saw something on the support page and said, how many people have wished they had a different procedure? If they would have tackled their cancer a different way, if they have chosen surgery over radiation, radiation over surgery, if they would have said, no, I implanted the seeds, I did it that way, and I did this, that, and the other, because everybody's different, right? It's all different. And so you get on there, and I said, that isn't a fair question to ask. You're going to have somebody that is scared, their PSA's up, and they did the DRE, and they said, where we feel something, they do their, the CAT scan, and they go, ooh, there is, it looks like you have an enlarged prostate, and this, that, and the other, and a couple things didn't look quite right. We're going to do, and you start down whatever road you go down, or they go, hit the brakes, we're not going to do a biopsy yet. And remember, MRI before biopsy. You want an MRI guided biopsy, period. Don't skate around that one. Don't let them do that. All right. If they say, well, we're going to just go ahead and do, you're not going to blindly stab needles into my prostate to get core samples. What I'd like to do, that big mass that's hanging out there, PIRAD 5 lesion, it was big, couple inches by a couple I mean, it was a big mass on my prostate. I don't know how big of a mass you were looking at. I don't know your PIRAD score. I don't know any of that. And if other people don't know that, don't take those type of questions to the internet, because there's people on there that have never had prostate cancer. They don't know anything about it, really. They just want to stir the pot. They just want to feel like they're somebody special. They're trolling the sites. They're coming up with BS. They're getting mad, trying to go, did you see? They're anonymous. The anonymous people, blah, blah. And they start that, and you'll start seeing a pattern with people. And then all of a sudden they go away, and somebody else starts doing it. And I go, come on, let's check it. Let's get them. Let's get those people out of there. But remember, the people that are on the site are usually the people that got on there. They had radiation. They had surgery. They have a rising PSA. They had to have an additional therapy. They had to do whatever it is they had to do in order to fix their situation, their problem that they were having with their prostate. And when you look at the situation from their standpoint, they're there because they still need the support. They had surgery, they had radiation, and it went well and they went away. No, they did do that, a big group of people, because they go, hey, I'm checking out. I've been on, my PSA checks now. I just slid to a year, and it's been 3 or 4. And I check in every now and then. I'm praying for you guys. Keep it up, warriors. But I'm out. It's heavy. You get on there, and the stories are pretty heavy. They're pretty dark. They're pretty, oh my gosh. We are getting more and more guests on the Hopecast, which is Richard Fleek and I, which I interviewed last week. He is the co-host of the Hopecast, where we have people that are getting on there talking about their journey specifically. There is no judgment. I want people to see the reason that they chose a different procedure than you're having. They're handling their cancer differently than you because their cancer is different. And people go, nope, I am not going to do surgery. I do not want all the side effects. People, I don't want the radiation. I don't want the side effects. Well, I'm telling you, I don't want the hormone therapy because I don't want the side effects. I'll tell you, I will have experienced the 3 of those. Right? So I will be a little more knowledgeable on this. I want to share that knowledge. I want to help you guys get through this, because I was scared to death when they said, Steve, you have cancer and it's aggressive and it's this, it's that. And then all my complications in the hospital, trying to wrap my head around what just happened to me. And when I got out of ICU with my aspiration pneumonia, I finally could get air into my lungs. My O2 was low for too long, and it was a scary time for not only me but my family. They didn't know what the hell was going on. I was so out of it. I honestly didn't understand what was going on. They would come in and hey, you're taking more blood, you're running more tests, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I get it. And I went home, and they go, oh, no, 2 abscesses in your stomach. I think we need to put 2 ports in. Do one, and then we're going to come back and have to do another one. It was ugly. It was a stressful situation that was even more so because of the complications on the backside. So here we are now. Everybody is in my corner as far as a family. My friends, everyone says, Steve, what can we do? How can we help? They're asking because I'm open about all of this, and they listen to the podcast and they go, Steve, my gosh, I didn't know you were going through all that. And I go, well, thanks for listening, but it's, let's not discuss this here at work. We'll wait. Very good. Let's talk. And so anyhow, it's been a very crazy journey for me, a very emotional thing. I keep saying I'm sorry, and I keep being told that I can't be sorry. It's not my fault that I have prostate cancer. I didn't choose to have this. Nobody chooses to have that. I get it. But at the same time, I get angry because I see them sad, and I see them get angry because I'm angry because I'm sad. And they go, oh, no, what can we do for you? And I go, you have to take care of you too. Okay. Not the band. I never was a fan of U2. Sorry. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Come on. I guess as a drummer, that wasn't a whole lot of fun. Anyhow, this is a crazy disease. It is not the easy anything. And we say that because people have said that to me, and they've said it to Richard, and on the page people go, hey, at least and it's a running joke with prostate cancer, because sometimes we have to joke and laugh about it, and we have to do all the things. But I said, hey honey, we need to get a credit card in your name, and we'll just dump some monthly bills on it, and then we'll just pay it off every month, and we're just going to go. And she goes, why? And I said, because I want your credit score way the heck up there. She goes, why? Something happens to me, I want to make sure you're going to be taken care of. You're going to have options. You don't have to make a bad choice because you don't have another option. I just want to make sure everybody's good. And as the chips are being all laid out there, and all the kids are where they are, and they're doing their thing, and I'm sitting back watching and saying, how proud am I? And we were talking, when are we going to do these treatments? I said 3:00 in the afternoon. My wife said, well, if you push it a little later. And I said, then I wouldn't be able to be at the volleyball games. This is her senior year. She's going to be going to school for another 8 or 9 years after this. So she has big plans. I want to be big supporter, and we've been there for all of it. I don't want this to interfere. I don't want her to say, because of Dad's cancer, he wasn't there. Because of all of his treatments, he wasn't there. Because, no, the hell with the excuses. I've been there at every one of your volleyball games that I could get to. If it was possible to be there, I was there. Since you were in 3rd grade, I'm not stopping now. All right. I have things that I need to continue to do, my friends. I want to thank you for being here, hanging out. I know I got a little crazy at the end. Sorry, I'll snap out of that one. But it's real. And I just want you guys to know that I truly care. I want to know if I can help you in any way. Get a hold of us. HCRD.online. That is a web address. My family is helping me with all of this, so it's the most important that I have. All right. Who are they? They are us. All right. We'll leave you with that thought. Boys and girls, I'm telling you, I'm here for you. Let me know. Please share the program. Anybody that needs to hear it, and as well as I do, you go through the episode list, you go, he doesn't talk about it all the time. No, I just keep you updated with the journey, and slide some of the other stuff on the other podcasts. This one, we're going to have fun. We're going to get silly, and you got to see some of that. Walk on the beach. That was kind of fun. But anyhow, my friends, you guys keep listening, keep sharing, and until next time, you guys be good. You've been listening to HCRD.online, and we're just getting started. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and follow along as we talk more about what it really means to live through the tough stuff with humor, culture, and real, unfiltered discussions. I'm Steve Niemeyer, and this is HCRD.online. We'll catch you next time. You guys be good.